I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all, in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country.
Trump is cracking under controversy, and this time not for his radical reform decision, but for his remarks on late director Rob Reiner. Well, scrutiny over Trump's remarks is not new, but his statement on Rob and its timing post his brutal murder in his LA home is just wrong. U.S. President Donald Trump under fire for his loathsome post about the death of Rob Reiner and wife Michelle Singer Reiner soon after their death is an indication that only politics matters for Mr. President. What did Trump do now? Why is the U.S. president facing all the backlash, even from his loyalists? Well, he made some outrageous comments on the Reiners after the news of their murder broke out. He lashed out the late director and called him a torture and struggling professional in his Truth Social post. He linked Reiner's death to his anti-Trump politics. In a long Truth Social post, Donald Trump wrote, "Reiner's death was reportedly due to the anger he caused by others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction known as Trump derangement syndrome." Trump then shifted to touting his own record, arguing that Reiner's alleged raging obsession and obvious paranoia about him stood in stark contrast to his administration's achievements. He also insisted that he had surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. Trump is known for inflammatory rhetoric, but his social media post marked a sharp break from the customary presidential role of offering sympathy after a public figure's death. The message drew backlash from conservatives and supporters alike, highlighting his refusal to set aside political grievances during moments of crisis. Representative Mike Lawler, a GOP moderate from New York, condemned the president's post as wrong, emphasizing that such a tragedy should elicit nationwide sympathy and compassion.
This statement is wrong. Regardless of one's political views, no one should be subjected to violence, let alone at the hands of their own son. It's a horrible tragedy that should engender sympathy and compassion from everyone in our country, period.
Kentucky GOP Representative Thomas Massie called the post inappropriate, saying it disrespected Rob Reiner, who was brutally murdered, and challenged officials to defend it.
Regardless of how you felt about Rob Reiner, this is inappropriate and disrespectful discourse about a man who was just brutally murdered. I guess my elected GOP colleagues, the VP and White House staff will just ignore it because they're afraid. I challenge anyone to defend it.
Former Trump ally Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene called the deaths of Reiner and his wife a tragedy, stressing it's a family tragedy, not about politics.
Rob Reiner and his wife were tragically killed at the hands of their own son, who reportedly had drug addiction and other issues, and their remaining children are left in serious mourning and heartbreak. This is a family tragedy, not about politics or political enemies. Many families deal with a family member with drug addiction and mental health issues. It's incredibly difficult and should be met with empathy, especially when it ends in murder.
Actor Patrick Schwarzenegger called it a disgusting and vile statement on X. California Governor Gavin Newsom described him as a sick man in a post on X. Late-night host Jimmy Kimmel, a frequent Trump critic, condemned the remarks as loathsome and hateful and vile, calling the president a sick and irresponsible man. Later on December 15th, during an unrelated White House event, Trump responded to a reporter's question by doubling down and mocking the director. "I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned," the president said.
Mr. President, a number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. You know, it was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all, in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country.
Los Angeles police said Monday that the Reiner's 32-year-old son, Nick, was taken into custody on suspicion of murder in the deaths of his parents. He was in custody with no bail. The couple's 28-year-old daughter, Romy, discovered her parents at their home on Sunday, where they had suffered multiple stab wounds.
Yesterday at December 14th, about 3:40 in the afternoon, LAPD responded to a residence, the residence of Rob and Michelle Reiner, located in West Los Angeles Division. At that location, they found two deceased adults, a male and a female. Through the night, working with the coroner's office, they were able to identify them definitively as Rob and Michelle Reiner. We have our robbery homicide division handling the investigation. They worked throughout the night on this case and were able to take into custody Nick Reiner, a suspect in this case. He was subsequently booked for murder and is being held on $4 million bail. Pretty much that's what I can share at this point, but again, a very, very tragic incident.
The case is set to go before the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office on December 16th to determine whether charges will be filed. Police said Nick Reiner was arrested several hours later, around 9:15 p.m. local time, and that the investigation remains ongoing with no motive publicly disclosed. Reportedly, Rob and Nick Reiner had a brief but heated argument at a party the night before. Nick Reiner has previously spoken about struggles with addiction and homelessness, experiences that inspired the semi-autobiographical 2015 film Being Charlie, which he made with his father. Rob Reiner, the son of legendary comedian Carl Reiner, launched his career in the 1960s and gained widespread recognition for his role as Meathead on the television sitcom All in the Family. He later solidified his reputation with the cult classic mockumentary This Is Spinal Tap, released in 1984, which he both directed and appeared in.